the panelists. So we've got Papa Romain Matondo, if you could come up to the front for us, please. We will get each panelist to introduce themselves, say a little bit about themselves as well. Next on the panel, we also have Yves Matoto. He's online. Can we see him? Yes, he's online there. So sorry, Victoria, can you make the screen bigger for Yves? Thank you. Just spotlight him. And we also have William Kapuku. Please, sir. It's a pleasure to have you. Do take a seat. Thank you. And Guy Kiyomi. Marvelous. So, yes, without further ado, we shall start. So this panel really is sorry, I wasn't expecting to have that here. We're trying to sort out sound problems. Right, so this panel is really to look at how we can strengthen partnerships between the DRC and the UK. We're looking at expanding horizons, strengthening our trade relations. We've seen exponential growth throughout the year between trade from the UK into Africa, into the DRC, and there's been a 10% increase in trade going into the DRC from the UK, and also there's been a whopping 70% increase between services, not just product trade, but services between the DRC and the UK. Now that is an impressive rate, I must admit. But how can we ensure that we keep this sustainable and also expand how much trade we are doing between the two nations? Now, we know that the DRC is endowed with so much critical mineral reserves, fertile agricultural land, and also extreme potential in hydroelectronics. Now, we can go on for a long time talking about all the wealth that the land has, but I'm sure we all heard that from the previous discussion, so I shan't go into all of that. But what we do want to say here is, we know the UK can bring a wealth of expertise into the DRC, and these are the sorts of things that we need to be tapping into. Responsible mining, infrastructural development, digital innovation, even humanitarian partnerships. All of these just to ensure that we have continuous, sustainable and inclusive growth. And today, the conversation is not just going to be about numbers. No, it's going to be about how we can build trust, how we can create transformation, true lasting transformation and shared prosperity between the two nations. So let's really talk about how we can be resilient in these changes that are happening, and also just making real tangible change that we can both thrive on collectively. So without further ado, let's dive into the very first question. I want this question to be for Yves Matondo, Yves Toto online. So Yves, can you hear us? He's unable to hear us. Right.
Maybe it's meeting.
Sorry, because he was.
It's meeting.
Just check that's still on. And also, can you get him to put his camera back on? If you can? Yeah. So, Mr. Yves, can you hear us?
Not yet. It's not yet connected.
He's trying to reconnect the different device.
Right. So, Mr. Yves,
if you ask him to get off, he's on two devices. If he gets off one device, we hear the second one.
Yeah.
okay. So whilst we wait for his the technical issues to be resolved, let me pass the question on to the panelists here on the ground with us. So the first question really is one of partnerships. It's with the current exports and to the DRC growing significantly, what key steps would you say we can take through the governments and private sectors as well to ensure that this growth remains sustainable, inclusive and mutually beneficial? Who would like to take that first question?
Thank you. Okay. I think the answers to this question go through what you have been exploring yesterday and today. So we are UK based. We have been working in the DRC for so much, but we talking from the point of view of the collaboration that the UK diaspora, based on our expertise and working with the institutions here, can bring to the DRC. Yesterday I appointed Lord Fopat, who was here. We worked with him for, at the time he was appointed the UK trade invoice, an investment for the DRC. He was working at the same time for Rwanda and Uganda. We discussed the DRC and we discussed what the UK we discussed what the UK was planning to bring in terms of investment and trade to the Congo after Brexit. But when we explored the situation, we came with a business plan. And that business plan is lying now in the drawers. I think we can resuscitate it if we have time and to explore it to see what we can do. But from what we heard yesterday and today, I've been summarizing some technical side of the things that are existing that the UK is doing and what is we are required to want to see in the Congo, and we have heard things that is happening in the Congo. So we have heard about, we are putting the focus now on deeper partnerships, and infrastructure development has been coming from time to time. Now, another key thing is the regulatory alignment, and again, capacity building. And this means that the government can facilitate this by creating stable legal and financial frameworks, promoting fair trade practices, and investing in infrastructure and skills. Why? That's the side of the government, that the private sector can concentrate on prioritizing local partnerships. These are the things we discussed a lot: sustainable business models and knowledge transfer. So when we explore the areas of investment, it wasn't about only public sector, but with Lord Popat and the other partners, we saw that the private sector is also key. So we need to bring in the private sector and see how we can work together. And again, there is a diplomatic engagement that must be very, very visible on the side of the DRC. We know that Lord Popat mentioned his meeting with President Tshisekedi. They met twice, and in one of the meeting with President Tshisekedi in the parliament, I was there. So we discussed a number of things, and President Tshisekedi is one now on the front line of pushing Congo forward, and he expressed his political will to see Congo develop in terms of trade and investment. So I would like to stop there for time and allow others to speak.
Thank you. Perhaps we can get another mic so there's not too much passing around. Right, so you mentioned about some of the discussions that were had yesterday as well, surrounding the business environment. And one thing that was also brought up was the question of security, stability, and business confidence. So I want to throw another question, right? considering the UK's involvement in humanitarian aid and security partnerships in the DRC, how can improved stability contribute to investor confidence and encourage broader economic participations across regions? Who wants to take that question?
I'll take it. Yes. Thank you very much. My name is Guy Kiomi. I run a geostrategic and management consultancy firm, and we do work with the UK and Africa, not only the DRC. In saying so, we did a lot of work with the UK government, and there's one thing that became obvious. The UK is one of the biggest donors in terms of humanitarian aid in the DRC. And when it comes to trade, it's almost the lowest. And when you look at the trade balance, it's less than 600 million. It's nothing in comparison to other markets. So if I circle back to your first question, how do we improve the partnership and link it to this one? When you look at the matter from a DRC point of view, we want to attract investments. From the UK perspective, they're seeking investments to get some returns. And there are many territories across the world where that money will go. So from the DRC point of view, what are we doing to attract those investments? You look at DFIs, the development finance institutions, UKEF, BII, they have billions of pounds to go into projects. But there's a gap because there are many projects in the DRC which are not yet bankable. And I'm glad that we have the FPE on the phone, or at least on Zoom, because then they can help Congolese entrepreneurs to get the project to bankability so that we can then present them to the DFIs like UKEF, BII, and so forth. So to link it then back to the humanitarian side of things, we were talking about the critical mineral yesterday, and the guy from ITDO said that we need to be patient because it takes time for governance to be put in place and stuff like that. But really, does it? Critical minerals is a matter of national security. We have William, who's an expert in the field. I'm sure he will say stuff about that. When you look at it from the UK perspective, they need access to those critical minerals, and it's a matter of urgency for them to secure those. What is DRC doing to ensure we set up a supply chain for the UK? So on the UK side, we need to make more pressure for them to wake up, because if the UK remains with the pace that we currently have, they'll miss out on the Japanese, on the Korean, the Canadian, and all the Chinese who are already there. So it's for us to tell them what we expect from them and what we offer. So we need to package our offer.
That was a powerful answer there, so thank you. You took us quite rightly into the next question, which was going to be on critical mining and responsible mining. So the DRC, as we know, holds a central role in global critical mining supply. And how can the UK expertise in responsible mining and supply chain transparency help strengthen ethical sourcing and support local communities? I think I want to throw this question over to Mr. William.
Thank you very much for the question. Critical.
Is he on?
Is he on?
Oh.
So, thank you. I was saying thank you very much for the question. Critical mining. Very important question. I've mentioned the Department of Economy and Finance. It's a new department that started last year, and that department is in the intelligence services of the DRC. They deal also with critical minerals. It's now difficult in the DRC to take a raw material as it is and take it outside the country, because there are services that are involved in. There is the mineral need to be processed on the field first before it gets outside the country, which will create jobs for the local And also, there are other minerals. I'm not an expert on components of minerals, but there are other minerals. They are always attached to each other. So in the past, the raw materials were taken outside the country, and the country was losing. And now there is a control on that. You cannot take raw materials outside. Recently, I say when I was in Kasumbalesa, the border of Zambia and Congo, I saw a lot of raw materials confiscated by the Congolese that were about to be shipped out of the country. So there is a very serious control on critical minerals, and that I think will help us to control the supply chain. And also there is what do you call it? There is a government unit or structure that's called OCC. Yeah, they control a lot the quality of those minerals before we ship them outside the country. We can, as we need improvement in so many fields in the DRC, the traceability of the mineral from the source up to the destination. So we can know that those minerals are not going in the wrong hands, or they are not used by, as you say, children in the fields, in the mining fields. There are also some NGOs, and they control every time in the minerals. And like in Kolwezi, I was in Kolwezi, you found that the governor of Kolwezi, Fifino Sukashi, is very focused on knowing where the mineral is coming from, so they cannot use child labor and all those things that we don't want to have an impact on the reputation of the DRC. So it's a huge field, and but we need more improvement, and we need more control, and we need more. We need the community to benefit from those, because previously, what they call redevance minier, we're given a lot to the chief of the villages or the area, the way it is. Now there are these, they organize events to find out the real needs of the population. Because I've got an example. Once I went to Kindu. I don't want to name the area, but I found out that there was a foreign company that was exporting minerals. Then there was also some reports about women being raped in those communities. So, guess you know what they did? They went to buy underwear for women and give it to them. So, which means that they didn't know the real need of the community. So when I came across that, I was so annoyed, and I spoke directly to the managing director of that company, that it's not up to the company to set up the needs of the community. It's up to the community to set up their own needs, and the company can come across those needs. I talk from my own experience, so I'm very pragmatic on the field. So the community also, they need some training, find out that what they can do in terms of their own needs, because you can build a road, but there is no need to build a road because there is another one. Instead of building a second road, you can build school, you can build, you can teach them or give them materials or train them to how to in agriculture fields. There are so many. I've visited. Congo is a paradise. When they talk about 8 million arable hectares, it's really 8 million. I was in Kwango, I went to Bandundu. There are places that the human, they ain't never put a foot in. It's empty. So, I mean, but communities are suffering. So that's why I focus a lot on corporate social responsibilities. But the community need to be involved. They need to engage with the communities to come up, I mean, to satisfy their needs instead of just thinking of what the community needs, but the community should be involved. And in diaspora, I know one guy in diaspora. He went to his own village and he got involved in community work, and now he was leading his own people and telling them what they need, really, instead of, I mean, when my sister said you go to Kinshasa, he said that we know more, we know a lot about skills, but let's go to the provinces as well. Let's empower our people in the communities. Thank you.
I think the chair to the first panel asked the question here on the diaspora added value. So I'd like to come back to that in relation to this. I think we should be working with initiatives like a team strategy to strengthen that added value. Why I'm saying this, we have heard here that our ministers, members of the parliament have been refused the visa to come here. We tried that in the past in the way of fostering institutional exchange, so that the expertise, the UK expertise from its diaspora and the institutions here can help DRC to strengthen the systems. And here, Guy has spoken about responsible mining and again, supply chain. We need a supply chain in the mining, a supply chain which is transparent. And we need to guarantee the transparency of the supply chain. And again, we want that institutional exchange for our parliamentarians here, members of government, to come and discuss governance with the UK institutions. We want that meeting to take place, but we found ourselves alone in front of MPs from the UK, the diaspora, in the complete absence of our parliamentarians who were supposed to come but who were refused the visa. So we need to sort out that issue because we need that to happen. And issues like ethical sourcing and governance. Because what is happening on the ground when William is talking about corporate social responsibility, we don't need anymore the illegal exploitation of minerals there, which are outsourcing the conflict, and the conflict which are resulting in abuse of human rights, including abusing women, the rape, and we don't want that. And we need things, legal framework which prevent that from happening. And we need to help our government to sort out such issues by bringing in our expertise to see how we can improve governance and bring in institutional reform. This is something the diaspora can contribute to.
Thank you so much. And I like what you said there. We can see there are changes, but we need more. There's still more to be done in terms of security. And yes, we need to involve the communities themselves. Through my organisation, actually, it's called LIT Space, it's short for Learning, Innovation and Technology Base. When we started, we were very hands-on in the camps of Canary inside Kivu, and we were helping with humanitarian aid. We were providing them with basic food products, we were providing them with blankets because they're living in camps, so it gets cold, it gets wet when it rains, and the women are just, it makes me want to cry. They are maltreated, they are raped, because rape is a form of war against a nation. And we work with these women, and we we provided them some training. We said, we're going to train you and give you some small microfinance. We trained them on how to make various pastry products like mikate and some people call it puff puff if you don't know mikate, and other sorts of little things that they could make just to sell to the local people and be able to be self-sustainable and feed their children. And then we also set up little classes for the young children where we can teach them that there's so much more to life than what they know, because some of them were born in those camps. So they don't know anything other than living in a small tent that's torn down and just running around barefooted with torn clothes. So we had to teach them there's other things to look forward to. But what happened when the wars intensified and then it became hard to reach my team on ground, I felt that for their safety, we had to change our strategy. So we said we're going to build a vocational college. And actually at the moment we are in planning for that, to build capacity, to train them. And this vocational college, you will meet Matthew later on, because I know I had the conversation with Matthew in terms of building the curriculum there, because he does a lot of work with curriculum building. And what we want is for it to be international standards. So once they're finished, they can go over to the UK or to anywhere in Europe or whatever and be able to work there as well. So this is how we can give back from the diaspora. If we're talking about what can we do as individuals here, these are the kind of ways that we can be able to help. Yes, the government does need to do more, it's true, but we have to admit our governments have failed us for a very long time. Very, very long time. So it's about us getting our hands dirty, going there and saying, we're going to do something about it ourselves. And the government will feel shamed one day, if they're actually shameful people. But these are the sort of things we need to be looking at. How can we as individuals, often we point fingers and say, oh, this government's doing this and then they're doing that. Okay, but what are we doing as individuals as well? How can we go into those communities, speak to them, do surveys? It's not enough, like you mentioned, they went and gave the women underwear when the issue is much bigger than that. What do the communities really need? And how can we be of service to them? How can we enlighten them on some of the... Sometimes people don't even know what they need. They don't understand what they need because they haven't got to that level of life yet. It's like bringing 5G connection to a small village that doesn't even know a radio station. You know, what are they going to do with it? So we have to enlighten them as well on what others are doing, what other nations have, and look at the possibilities that you can also have. That will spark that creativity in their mind to be able to understand how they can also better help themselves. But thank you for that. So I want to then move on to the last question, because I'm just being mindful of time as well. And this one is around, well, I've got two here, but let me pick one. I'm going to pick digital services and innovation. Right, so with service exports up by 70%, what does the digital future for UK and DRC look like? How can we use digital tools and infrastructure to build gaps in connectivity, logistics, and access to global markets? Who wants to take that one?
Okay.
Okay.
And go ahead.
Well, I can just thank you for the question. It's one of the British priority. I had a meeting with the ambassador of the British in the DRC. We found out what are the priorities, and she spoke about 3 priorities. There might be more. Spoke about communication. Communication is very, very important. The communication involved also digital communications. And digital communication will allow us to build e-government, electronic government. and also spoke about agriculture, critical minerals as well. And you'll find out there are more investors or more British investors in Katanga, in Lubumbashi. Yeah, so they are also supplying some equipment because Katanga is close to South Africa or it's close to other ports in the east. So even the suppliers of as I said, some equipment. And I've got a video that when I was there to film and find out what is coming into the DRC. You'll see big equipment coming from South Africa to go straight to Kolwezi or to Katanga. So communication is very, very important for us, and it will allow us to, it allows so many, facilitates so many things, transparency, and that can be used for quick response. So communication is one of the agenda on the British investments in the DRC.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you so much.
There is something happening in Congo with the new government. There is a ministry for economy numérique. Yes, it was said the numeric economy. So I think what the effort now the DRC government is making is to practically use frameworks to remove regulatory frictions and secure data-driven trade access. I think that's what the Department for Economy and Merit is trying to do. And again, try to get a transformation to embrace paperless trade and introduce other digital solutions to make trade cheaper, faster, and more accessible. So they created that Department for Economy and Merit to do this kind of sort of things. So DRC also is on the move to respond to that.
Can I give a comment? I hate myself if I don't make that comment. You talked about innovation, right? And you mentioned in your first panel that the war that we're facing with Rwanda is also a cyber war. But innovation cannot happen without energy. Industrial agriculture cannot happen without energy. And when we talk about innovation, we need to educate. We talked about the curriculum. Here in the UK, I'm thinking, do I need to take my kids off school? Because what they're learning is not conducive to the economy, today's economy already, or about tomorrow's economy. So from a DRC perspective, when we talk about innovation, we need to make sure that we equip our youth with the right curriculum, but also to give them the energy to be able to innovate. I went to Congo 2 years ago. I went to the University of Kinshasa. What I heard is that once we code, the light goes off. In Rwanda, in Kenya, in Namibia, they keep coding. So they're building faster up, whilst we have to wait for the energy to come back. So everything comes back to energy. From there, we can look at innovation, we can look at curriculum development, and everything else. So human development, innovation, energy is the key.
Absolutely, yes. And it's quite staggering because the Congo water supplies electricity to the neighbouring countries, but for some reason we can't get it right in our own country. Okay, I want to be mindful of time, so I'll give you a minute.
Yeah, just adding to that, as a guy just said that electricity is the main key, is a sine qua non condition if you want to develop industry. Right now, I know that you've heard that INGA has been, they are working on INGA, and while I know that INGA is supplying electricity to other countries, but we can also benefit from that as well. And there is a project going on right now. I traveled with the director of the World Bank, who's in charge of communities. So he's working now in Matadi. So if anyone from that area, because it's developing communities, if anyone from that side, I can connect him to him, so to see how get new ideas of how to develop the communities where the line, the transport lines are going through. So in those areas from Inga up to, is now in Matadi, is working from Matadi. So when you reach other provinces, I can inform other people just to give ideas, because sometimes the local, they really struggle to find out what they are really need. So, but if someone is on this side in diaspora, you can give them ideas, so the money can go where the needs are. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're just going to open up just maybe 2 comments or 2 questions, because we have to be mindful. I've got a hand up from you, Treasure.
Yes.
Trésor.
Yes.
Okay, and then I've got a hand up from gentleman in the back over there. Is there a mic to pass around today? Oh, and Lady Eleanor. Oh, now we've got 4 people. Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to be quick.